Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Soccer Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today. We'll be covering Bayern Munich versus Real Madrid, the leg 1-2-2, finishing in the Allianz Arena. And make sure you stick around for later in the show where I'll be giving you my preview for tomorrow's game between Borussia Dortmund and PSG in a classic tie to determine who will be going to the final against Wembley. Before we start off, I'd like to ask you to like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your questions get read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donations link at gsmcpodcast.net with your question. This puts your question at the top of the list so that I see it, and it also really helps the show. Again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net. But start off with the show. As I said, we will be talking about the Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich game. And a very, very interesting first leg, a very fascinating first leg. A first leg that I think went a little bit differently than what I thought. Entering this tie, I did think it was really Real Madrid, the clear favorites, and Bayern Munich really just trying to make an account for themselves. That's really how low I thought of Bayern entering this tie when you look at the form that they're coming into this Bundesliga. But, you know, they do have quality. They do have a Thomas Tuchel who has won a Champions League before. So, the first leg was fascinating. I mean, Bayern Munich came out right away. Within the first 30, 40 seconds, Sané had a chance against Lunin. Lunin makes a good save on the near post to deny him. And Bayern looked very, very comfortable in that first half. All the way up to that goal, I mean, it was all Bayern. And then just one brilliant ball from Toni Kroos, one moment of magic, slips in Vinicius in behind. What is Kim Min-jae doing? Not just on the second one, but second goal he conceded by giving up that penalty, but that first one, stepping up to Vinicius, allowing the space in behind for Vinicius to run into, giving the time, especially knowing that Toni Kroos, looking as a center back, seeing the fact that Toni Kroos is not under pressure. So what is your first instinct when the player on the ball in midfield is not under pressure? Drop back. Well, he decided to step forward, which left in space in behind. With a guy like Toni Kroos with all that much time and space on the ball, it was bound to happen. He hits a brilliant ball that splits open the entire back line. Questions asked was Manuel Neuer. Could he have been a little bit more aggressive coming out? You know, it was a brilliant ball. It was a brilliant ball. It was a brilliant ball. And if anyone is to blame for that, it has to be Kim. Kim Min-jae is to blame for that. And then the second goal, just schoolboy defending. I mean, you're in the box. You don't want to give the referee a chance to blow the whistle on you. You know what I mean? Especially in that situation. It was not the most... Rodrigo was kind of halfway turned to the goal. He's not in the most threatening position to get a shot off. And for Kim Min-jae to essentially hand Real Madrid a goal back, a second goal, and completely change the face of this tie. Yeah, it was not a good day for Kim Min-jae, and it's been a bad season for Kim Min-jae in general after making that $50 million move from Napoli to Bayern. But I did think Real Madrid could come in and blitz them, could come in, get a few goals on the counterattack early, and then just completely wipe away. But Bayern, they were able to get confidence. They were able to move the ball up and down the pitch. They played very good. I like Konrad Laimer. I say his name wrong all the time. Laimer. I thought he looked very comfortable on the ball, going up against that amazing Real Madrid midfield, and it just seemed like Bayern was the more dominant team, which, you know, maybe it shouldn't be surprising knowing how Real Madrid play. But especially in that first half and then early in that second half, and Sané, you know, not scoring a goal since October. It's like these guys, Sané, Dembele, you know, they don't score for so long, but then they score, they come back, and there's a reason why they're still in the team. Despite them not having the end product, not being able to show it off with goals, they still remain in the starting 11 because of the moments of magic that they can produce. Wow, what a goal by Sané. Just with his left foot on his strong foot, quick heading, bang, right near post. I mean, questions were asked was Lunin. As soon as he makes that cut, you're kind of, as a goalkeeper in your position, you almost got to assume the way his hips are moving that he's going near post. The second you see his hips open up towards his shot going near post, as soon as then is when the goalkeeper should make a move. He was a little bit of delayed, and that allowed that brilliant shot to go in. It was very like pace. It was a pure basketball. It was like a baseball like pitch. It was a pure bang. Like as soon as it hit the ball, it nestled into the back of the net. It was a beautiful, beautiful goal. And then another brilliant moment of magic from Jamal Musiala, who's going up against another young superstar in Bellingham. And in my opinion, I saw one on the pitch. The other one didn't show up. And the one that did not show up was not Musiala. Because Musiala was phenomenal, as he always is. Just technically so gifted on the ball, good in tight spaces, one of the best dribblers, forgetting the Bundesliga in the world, one of the best youngsters in the world, and really doing it at the top of the top. And it was brilliant. It was brilliant. But if you have to say, but let's just go through the stats. 14 shots to 10. 14 shots for Bayern, 10 to Real Madrid, 5 shots on target to 4 for Real Madrid, 52% possession for Bayern, for 48% for Real Madrid, 557 passes for Bayern to 517 passes for Real Madrid. You know, at the end of the day, I think Real Madrid are comfortable still, despite the fact that they were outplayed. You could say generally over the 90 minutes. This is a Real Madrid team that was outplayed the entire knockout stages. Again, in the year that they won the Champions League, when they played against PSG, when they played against Chelsea, when they played against City, when they played against Liverpool. If you look at it throughout the duration of the game, the other teams were far, far better, but Real Madrid figured out a way to get it done. And that's just kind of... And let's go back to last week with Real Madrid and City. Despite being outplayed for that entire second leg, 33 shots to I believe it was 9 or something, the way Real Madrid, this is what Real Madrid does. Real Madrid is comfortable in this situation, taking a 2-2 draw to Bernabeu, everything to play at the Bernabeu. It's amazing. It's perfect for them. It's what they wanted. You know, at the end of the day, would they have wanted to win this leg to make it comfortable for them? I mean, yeah, but it's not the end of the world that they didn't come out with the victory. You know, it's not the end of the road. Last tie, they came out with a tie after the first leg. They went it into Etihad and won the game in penalties, obviously, but they still ended up winning the game. So now having to go against a weaker Bayern Munich side compared to Man City, a weaker Bayern Munich side at the Bernabeu, maybe closing the roof again, having that electric atmosphere that we know that they're capable of producing up there. Real Madrid is really in a position that they would fancy themselves. And Bayern, I think this is a huge missed opportunity for Bayern, especially when you look at the stretches that they dominated this game. They had their chances to really carry a lead into the second leg, especially with the way that they also conceded the 2 goals being individual mistakes from one guy, essentially, but still mistakes at the back. The fact that they're not, this is a huge missed opportunity, and now they have to go into Bernabeu needing to get a result. It's a tough position that they find themselves in. It really is. It's a tough position that they find themselves in. Thomas Tuchel has found himself in this position. Was Chelsea a few years back. They needed to go into Real Madrid. Not only did they need a result, they needed to flip a 3-1 tie, and they nearly pulled it off. So flipping this out is not nearly as difficult as that. So are they capable of doing it? Yeah, I mean, this Bayern Munich team, even though they've been struggling in the Bundesliga, there is a reason why they are, in the semifinals of the Champions League. They didn't get there by luck. They beat an Arsenal team that's up there battling for the Premier League title. So they didn't get there by luck. But yeah, it was seeing Real Madrid Bayern is really football heritage. Seeing that game played, just seeing the jerseys, seeing the atmosphere, it just really felt like football heritage. And I have no doubt it's gonna feel like that at the Bernabeu. Um, I'm interested to see the tactical battle in leg two at at um at the Bernabeu. Do Real Madrid come out all firing, come out to, end this tie, or or Ancelotti and them, do they sit back? Do they observe? Do they allow Bayern to be the aggressor and hit on the counter? I would really like to see what Ancelotti's approach it is, because I feel like that is the smarter approach rather than just making it end-to-end football between Bayern and Real Madrid, because Bayern are able to play that kind of football. They have the quality to play end-to-end with Real Madrid. But I think the smart thing for Real Madrid would be to sit back to play on the counter, because this Bayern back line has they have mistakes in them. They have mistakes in them. They will get their opportunities, Real Madrid. They don't need to open themselves up to create these opportunities. Bayern Munich will allow them to get these opportunities because of how mistake-prone that back line is. Whether Upamecano is in or not, it's a mistake-prone back line. So if I'm Ancelotti, I'm really going to play with the more, let's observe, let's sit back, let's observe, and let's hit them on the counter, the way that they won the Champions League in the years back. And people call that terrorism football, people call it this, people call it that. At the end of the day, whenever they win the Champions League a few years back, it didn't say terrorism football on the trophy. It said Real Madrid, champions of Europe. So at the end of the day, they got to do what they got to do to get it done. And then as far as Thomas Tuchel, does he go with a little bit more front foot lineup? Does he try to put more goals in his team? Does he bring in a Gnabry who came off the bench in this game, who's been in and out of the team this season a lot because of injury? Does he bring him to the 11? Does he remain with Kimmich playing at a fullback position? It's just a lot of question marks with the Bayern team, what they're going to do in that second leg. But I'm very, very interested. And it's really phenomenal what Real Madrid has been able to do this season without a center forward. I'm watching the game. It's down the stretch. They're down 2-1. It just seems like Carlo Ancelotti is handicapped. He can't bring in a guy off the bench as a striker. He doesn't have one. I mean, the commentators will talk about JioSaavn, but JioSaavn is not really up to this kind of standard. So they're having to flip-flop. They're having to bring Brahim Diaz. They're having to play Bellingham sometimes in that really false 9 right under the striker role. And the fact that they've really not had a real striker and reached the semifinals, basically clinched La Liga, is phenomenal. Phenomenal for Real Madrid. And very, very impressive for Carlo Ancelotti, who, in my opinion, it just keeps adding to his legacy. And if he goes and pulls off this Champions League, not just the fact that he won the Champions League with the Real Madrid team that was flat out just not to the level of the other teams that they beat to get to that. I'm talking about the last Champions League run with Ancelotti. But if they're able to do this without a number 9, just in general, a Real Madrid caliber, a top class quality number 9, I mean, it just keeps adding to the legacy of Carlo Ancelotti, who really keeps climbing. And it's interesting because just a few years ago, he was a coach of Everton. It seems like his stint at the top clubs was running out, and this opening opens up in Real Madrid, an opening that really seemed like, oh yeah, let's just put in Ancelotti kind of as an interim, just temporary, just so he can smooth the fans, so then we can go for our next world-class manager. But he went in and he won the freaking Champions League, and then he became that next manager for Real Madrid. It's phenomenal for Carlo Ancelotti, and he continues to add to his legacy. And this is also a big game for Thomas Tuchel too. If he's able to take this Bayern team to the Champions League final, yes, he's gone from Bayern, but this really allows him to, enter the top of a lot of teams' lists that need a manager for this upcoming summer, because there will be a decent amount of good teams that will be shortly parting ways with their managers. So, but we'll move on to the next topic. On the next break, where we'll be talking about Borussia Dortmund versus PSG.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Reminder guys that we get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show, and I ask that you use the tip and donations link at gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. This puts your questions at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it really helps grows the show. So please, the link you see right there. But we gotta move on to the next part of the show. Borussia Dortmund versus PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, leg 1 at one of the best atmospheres in the world, the Signal Iduna Park. Forget what sport you're talking about. Forget basketball, football, soccer, tennis, whatever. We're talking about one of the best atmospheres in the world. The yellow wall, the suffocating atmosphere that is at Borussia Dortmund, preparing for a semi-final tie that this Borussia Dortmund club does not normally, obviously this is not a club with no history, but, they're not normally in these kind of games. A semi-final of the Champions League. I believe the last time they were in the semi-finals of the Champions League would probably be 2012-13, that year that they lost to Bayern in the final. So the atmosphere is going to be for it. It's going to be very, very big. It's going to be very, very loud. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere. And they'll be welcoming Mbappe, Ousmane Dembele, and co. in PSG. And it's, for me, I don't want to be harsh, but for me, this really seems like the game to whoever loses in the final. Whoever wins this game, in my opinion, will lose to the final compared to either Bayern or Real Madrid. Okay, no, let me take that back. If Bayern were to play PSG, I don't know. I'd be 50-50 on that one. But if any of these two teams were to play Real Madrid in the final, yeah. For me, this is the team to lose to Real Madrid in the final, quite simply. But I don't want to lessen the diminish of the game, because obviously anything could happen. But that's just like my thoughts on it. And this is a PSG team that has had kind of an up and down season. They've been good in League One, but in the Champions League they've been pretty weak. Struggled a little bit in the group stage. Got walloped when they went to Newcastle. It took them the last minute to and beat the Newcastle at Parc des Princes, which could really spell trouble for them in that group. It took them to the final day to get out of that group. So and then round of 16 they were comfortable against Sociedad, but in the quarterfinals I thought Barcelona were just pretty much the better team throughout the majority of the ties. Just when Araujo got the red card in the 28th minute, just completely changed the tie, and I really think that's the reason why PSG are still in the Champions League, or now we'll be having a conversation between Barcelona and Borussia Dortmund. That's how close margin it is, and that's how PSG really got here. And I mean, I'm not trying to diminish from them. They reached the Champions League semifinals, a remarkable achievement for Luis Enrique in his first year as the PSG manager. But still, it shows the kind of vulnerabilities of this PSG squad, of this PSG team, and their heavily reliance on Kylian Mbappe, who didn't have the best of ties against Barcelona. But whenever they needed him to slot away that penalty, they needed him to get the dagger to finish off the game. He provided that for PSG, and he's one of the main catalysts to why this PSG team is here. Ousmane Dembele, I was talking about Leroy Sané beforehand. Ousmane Dembele not really doing much when it comes to end product throughout the season, getting 2 goals in that Barcelona tie, and those 2 goals were crucial. Vitinha playing very, very well in that quarterfinal tie. So, PSG are coming from it from a really, not happy to be here, but we made it here. Now it's time to take care of business. While Borussia Dortmund, they beat Atletico in stretches. In stretches, they dominated Atletico, and that's why they're here. Atletico, they came out on the front foot against Borussia Dortmund. Pure front foot. And Borussia Dortmund were able to get a goal in the second half of that first leg, which gave them a little bit of more room to go into to go into Dortmund with the yellow wall atmosphere, only needing to cover a 1-goal deficit, which they were able to cover. Again, they did that in a quick spurt throughout the game, the beginning of the game, in the middle, near the end, the 65th minute, scoring 2 quick goals. So, Borussia, and then they're coming in with a fantastic young coach, and Edin Terzic, who's trying to make a name for himself when it comes to world football and world football managers. And I think he's had a fantabulous start in his career. You really could argue that they should have won the Bundesliga last year. They choked it at the end. They bottled it, as the English would say. It was a pure bottle job. But he's still a very, very good manager. And he's had stints, interim manager, not interim manager, full-time manager with this Borussia Dortmund team. Finally realized he's the man for the job. They gave him the job on a full-time basis. And yeah, he's led them to the semi-final. And they're in the semi-final where they think, okay, we're going against PSG. We have a chance, We didn't come here just to show up. We have a chance. And they have the quality to threaten Borussia for PSG. They have decent players. They have a squad of players. They played Leverkusen, the team that won the Bundesliga right away. They played them hard. 1-1 game. The Leverkusen, the late show, they won 97th minute. Stanisic scored the goal to tie it up. Of course, they tie it up in the last 90 plus 7 minute. But they played pretty well. Füllkrug, German international. Sancho coming back, playing decent. Brandt, Sabitzer, Emre Can hold it down in midfield. Matt Hummels having a turn back the year clock moment, having a brilliant season, and played himself, in my opinion, should be in the Germany starting 11, let alone the squad. Ian Maatsen that came in from Chelsea, he's also been playing pretty well. Schlotterbeck, and then they have the experience of Royce, Sule, they got the youngster like Mukoko. It's a decent squad. And they've had a decent season. Pretty poor in the Bundesliga. They're actually battling to make top 4. They're probably not going to reach it, which makes this Champions League even more important for them because of the fact that they might need this just to play in the Champions League next season, which will be remarkable if Borussia Dortmund doesn't get into the Champions League, because when's the last time have you said that? But yeah, I think this first leg is really tight. I think it's a very cagey affair. I think Borussia Dortmund are trying not to lose it, while PSG are gonna try to go for it a little bit, especially in the first leg. But I think the fact that it is in the atmosphere is gonna make PSG a little bit more cagey just in general, and Borussia Dortmund are just gonna be cagey in general because of the, having to worry about Kylian Mbappe and Ousmane Dembele on the wings going up and down, and Balcoa on the wings going up and down against these Borussia Dortmund fullbacks that are not the strongest. So I think Borussia Dortmund is also going to play a little bit more defensive, a little bit more, let's keep everything under control, which I think is a great approach for them. They want to be able to go into Parc des Princes with the football game still, being maybe even with a 1 or 2 goal thing, but they can't just completely go for it because of the players. By the way, Dortmund and PSG were in the same group this Champions League. They were in the same group this Champions League. Will that add to it? I don't know, cause I don't know necessarily, cause at the end of the day, the group stages were a few months ago. But for the record, Dortmund PSG, they finished 1-1 in the last tie that they played. That was at the Idwana Park, and then in the first match day at the Stade de France, not the Stade de France, the Parc des Princes. PSG beat Dortmund 2-0, and Mbappe and Hakimi got the goals to win that game. So for the record, 1 win, 1 draw for PSG over Dortmund from this group stages. But at the end of the day, for me, that doesn't really matter, because this is just totally those. You could almost argue that they've been 2 different teams since then. Those are not the same teams that they are right now. So I don't hold much weight to that. But I think that, for y'all, maybe it'll be good to know. But yeah, I don't know how this game will go, honestly. I don't know. I'm very, very interested to see the approaches of both managers. And I definitely think the experience is with PSG, not just with the players, but with the manager. And I think that'll be enough to help them push through, not just the first leg necessarily, but just the tie in general. I do think, and it's crazy for me to say, but I really think PSG is probably going to reach a Champions League final, which I didn't really see it happening. But the draw opened up for them. When you look at Real Madrid, Bayern, Arsenal, Man City all going on one side, the draw opened up. So one of these 2 teams is going to reach the Champions League final. And in my opinion, they're both teams that we didn't really could see this happening at the beginning of the season. Maybe with PSG, but for the fact that it's Mbappe, Luis Enrique coming in, and, maybe we could have seen that, but I didn't see it. Me personally, I didn't see it at all. But I'm very, very interested to see how the tie goes. I think when it comes to legacy, I think this is really big for Mbappe. Being able to go to a Champions League final, being able potentially to win a Champions League to end off his PSG career. I mean, what a story will it be? For Marco Reus, his experience that he's had, what a story will that be if he can get it done for Borussia Dortmund? So there's definitely storylines when it comes to that aspect. When it comes to the managers, it allows Edin Terzic to really, put himself at the top of top young managers, and really allows him to bring in the fold of other big clubs. And then for Luis Enrique, he just keeps adding to his resume, a brilliant resume of winning treble already, having success at Barcelona. Just keep adding to his record, keep adding to the brilliance of his CV. But as we conclude the show, thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Soccer Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us. Please remember, your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for more contents and updates. Thank you once again, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.